Now, I know that I have been insanely based in my coverage of the Iran-Israel conflict thus far, and I calculate how based I am based on the amount of people that want me dead. The tens of thousands of death threats I've been receiving on Twitter have been incredibly insightful as to how based I actually am exactly. Yes, sir, 1000% based is what I am. I'm getting death threats by people with more flags in bios than years that they have been on this earth. 15-year-old bisexual hipsters have canceled me, and now I know fear. So I am immortal. I will not stop, all right? I am not going to just be silent. I am going to say the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. They hated me, just like another Jew, for he spoke the truth. So, lock in, boys and girls. Trump went nuclear, dropped the N-word, the N-bomb, the nuclear bomb, proverbially, of course. Now, I am going to be making fun of a lot of lefty weirdos, also some righty weirdos, and then we are going to be looking at this insane, absolute wild situation. So lock in, boys and girls. It gets nuclear. The White House releases a Trump tweet. Iran should have signed the deal. I told them to sign. Oh, what a shame. A waste of human life. Simply stated, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I said it over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran, which is the capital of Iran. That is a crazy tweet. That's crazy. Everyone went bonkers hog wild. Dog, everyone went so nutty choo-choo on this one. It's insane. So first, the reaction in Iran was people mass left Iran. There was mega traffic on all the highways. Hundreds of thousands of people left Tehran because Trump tweeted something, probably while he was sitting on the toilet. So that is an absolutely fucking crazy fucking bomb that he just dropped on the universe. Now, when he made this tweet, a lot of the people on the right are like, there's this new weird group on the right, like the anti-war people. Now, I am also anti-war, all right? Personally, also anti-war. But a lot of the anti-war people got together and were like, we didn't vote for this. Trump is going to war. How dare Trump get involved? Trump lied. He tricked all of us. They're all retards, literally all of them, all right? We don't want Iran to have a nuclear bomb because they want death to America, okay? As an American, don't want to hear any of that shit, all right? So they want a nuclear bomb. Trump said don't have a nuclear bomb. They said, fuck you, Trump, we're going to make a nuclear bomb. And then Israel attacked because no fucking shit Israel is going to attack them when they are developing weapons to destroy Israel because no shit. So this is the most anti-war stance he possibly could have had. If this was George Bush, he would have immediately mobilized the entire military. There would have been boots on the ground. The Trump strategy is let Israel take most of the heat. Let them do most of the fighting since they are the primary target of Iran right now. And we'll just, we'll kind of sit here on the sidelines. We'll see how it goes. And this might be one of the most big balls maneuvers I think he's ever done. It's like good cop, bad cop, where good cop is Trump and bad cop is Israeli fighter jets blowing the shit out of their nuclear reactors. It's kind of crazy. So I wanted to show you some Asmongold coverage before I get into the actual retards on the internet. We got some Hasan retards to make fun of. Currently, Trump is beefing with Tucker Carlson. I didn't ever expect to see that in my lifetime, but that is happening. So let's see what we got.
Talking about this, right, about this ship. So they moved this aircraft carrier over to Israel, rerouted to the Middle East as tensions between Israel and Iran rise. This is what Trump has said about the war.
Well, I hope there's going to be a deal. I think it's time for a deal, and we'll see what happens. But I think there's a good chance there'll be a deal.
So they think that the solution is to kill the supreme leader of Iran.
Yeah, that's what it seems like Israel thinks. I don't know if that's accurate personally, but that's what it seems like he's saying.
Israel is literally saying this is what they want to do.
What have you heard? What have you heard from the Iranians?
They'd like to talk, and they...
Now they'd like to talk. Interesting. Now they'd like to talk. After months of dodging Trump, now they're interested in coming to the table. Interesting how that happens, huh?
Should talk, and they should talk immediately.
Netanyahu angry at Americans. Look, I understand America first. I don't understand America dead.
We are going to look at that exact quote.
If President Trump,
because that was taken out of context a little bit,
asked you to stop, would you do it?
Well, President Trump has been a great leader, a great leader of the world,
not answering the
a
question,
great leader and a great friend of Israel. And he put forward
Answer is no.
But he said Iran and Israel should make a deal and will make a deal. How do you explain that disconnect? He seems very optimistic, in fact, seeming like he wants you to get back to.
So notice this ABC interview that they're doing. We're going to be looking at this in just a little bit towards the end of this video because I have a lot packed in here. I do a lot of packing, by the way. So I'll have you know, this ABC interview is wildly nefarious. The entire interview is the ABC host, because remember, this is just another one of those leftist propaganda machines in America, right? This entire host strategy is doing his best to make a wedge between Netanyahu and Trump. Honestly, not even because he hates Israel, but because he hates Trump. All right, that's my analysis, and we're going to see how that goes.
To the table and get back to the table now. You're saying there's no getting back to the table until the goals of the bombing campaign are achieved.
I understand America first. I don't understand America dead. So we're doing something that is in the service of mankind, of humanity, and it's a battle of good against evil.
Tucker Carlson says that if President Trump gets the U.S. involved in Iran, it would precipitate the downfall of the American empire and effectively end his presidency.
Remember, this is Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson says that if the U.S. is involved in any way, all right, this will end his presidency. We are going to be getting into Tucker Carlson because Trump actually called out Tucker Carlson, which is wild. All right, so this is going to be wild.
Bernie Sanders is talking about it. Netanyahu started this war by attacking Iran. He assassinated Iran's nuclear negotiator, deliberately sabotaging U.S.-Iran nuclear negotiations.
Which is a wild fucking take from Bernie Sanders, especially because Israel did this with a full knowledge of what Trump was actually doing. Trump knew that this was happening. Israel didn't start this war. You could argue it's preemptive, that they were destroying nuclear sites that they said that they were going to be using to destroy Israel. You could say that they violated their agreements with Trump and with the United Nations. Speaking of Iran, Iran violated all of that. I've showed this in a previous video. But also, something important to note is the fact that all the terrorist organizations that have been attacking Israel for years, for like 41 years now, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, they are all Iranian proxies. So to say that Netanyahu starts a war out of nowhere by attacking Iran is definitely a wild take.
The U.S. must not be dragged into another illegal Netanyahu war, either militarily or financially. You know what's crazy about this? This is the first time that I've seen so much bipartisan support of anything. When was the last time that we had this much bipartisan support of people all across politics that all agreed on the same thing?
He is not wrong. A lot of people don't want to get boots on the ground Americans in Iran. And honestly, I completely agree. For sure, absolutely. Why the hell do you want American soldiers to go for a war, boots on the ground, when Israel could do their job and take this, threat to Israel and also to America in extension? But if they could take this threat out and neutralize it with just minor American aid for defense systems or whatever, why would American soldiers need to go to war in that instance? And I completely stand by that. And I think that's definitely the wide sentiment here. But it gets a little bit crazier.
Let me see. Iran should have signed the deal I told them to sign. What a shame. What a waste of human life. Simply stated, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I said it over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran.
Uh-oh!
Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. Whoa, 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 whoa. He says immediately. I'm not making this up.
Yeah, this is everybody talking about it here, too. Trump says everyone should immediately evacuate. Maybe he knows about an impending Israeli operation. That's probably what it could be. He knows some crazy shit is about to happen.
Now, someone said I'm overreacting. President of the United States just said everyone should immediately evacuate Iran.
Amazing footage.
It's crazy. Bro, it's so wild.
It's showing the launch of the ballistic missiles from Iran against Israel. Wait, this is in Dubai? Holy shit, look at them all. Could they realistically hit a satellite at that height? I don't know. I don't even know if they actually exit the atmosphere. And my understanding is that exiting the atmosphere is the main, that's the main thing that's really hard for them to do. They do? Oh, okay. Well, then maybe they could. I have no idea.
God
Holy
damn.
shit, man.
That's insane.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Now, I wanted to get you some catch up because a lot of people are saying that, you know, Trump's been flip-flopping. He walks down the golden escalator. He says no more endless wars. And now all of a sudden Trump is talking in some pretty harsh language. He's telling people to, you know, evacuate Iran. Is Trump actually just lying to everyone and tricked everyone? Well, I found a little compilation that I would like to show you.
You cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. You cannot have a nuclear weapon.
You can't let Iran have nuclear weapons.
I see.
Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Very simple.
Oh,
You can't
shit.
let that happen. Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. You cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon.
True.
You can't give them nuclear weapons. Don't
He's right.
let Iran have nuclear weapons.
Go-
They can't
completely
have a
true.
nuclear weapon. No nuclear weapons. I just don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. They can't
Look,
have a
man,
nuclear weapon.
promise
They
is
can't have a
made,
nuclear
promise is
weapon.
kept.
I just don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. You can't let them have a nuclear weapon. I just don't want them to have
He's
a
the most
nuclear weapon.
consistent
Iran can't have a
motherfucker of all
nuclear
time.
weapon. You can't have a nuclear weapon. They can't have a nuclear weapon. They're not going to have a nuclear
No,
weapon.
they're not.
They
No,
can't
they're
have a
not.
nuclear weapon. They cannot have a nuclear
They
weapon.
cannot.
They cannot
Nope.
have a nuclear
They can't.
weapon.
They
They
can't.
cannot have a nuclear weapon. Iran can't have a nuclear weapon.
Right.
Iran has to get rid of the concept of a nuclear weapon. They can't have a nuclear weapon. You can't allow them to have a nuclear weapon. They just can't have a nuclear weapon. Iran can't have a nuclear weapon.
I wanted to show you that, just to make it clear that everyone that's saying, oh, Trump fooled me, shouldn't have voted for him, shouldn't have happened. Absolute degenerate idiots. This has been the most consistent Trump point of all time. Bro, this is a compilation of Trump talking about Iran and the N-word. Nuclear, harder, harder. So, anywho, the reason why I wanted to show you this, as opposed to this, is because this is that same compilation I just showed you, except it is a 16-minute long compilation of Trump saying they can't have a nuclear weapon. Okay, listen, I just want to make this completely clear. He has been stupidly consistent about this, like redonkulously consistent about saying that, you know, Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. And I have to say, he's completely right. He is completely correct. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. They are a terrorist state that actually sponsors different terrorist organizations to do their dirty work for them. They bomb innocent people. They murder innocent people. Iran has caused the deaths through them and their proxies of 1,000 Americans, aside from God knows how many people everywhere else from all these wars that they started. And them initiating the October 7th attack in Israel might be the worst tactical decision ever made in the history of warfare. I'm just saying. So, to be clear, Trump always said Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. He tried his absolute best to make a deal with them. He gave them a 60-day ultimatum. They failed. What happens then? What if Iran just says, no, fuck you, we want a nuclear weapon? Like, let's be real. Let's be real. What is the solution? Well, Trump managed to find a solution where no American soldiers are boots on the ground in the Middle East. The solution is Israel takes out their sights and Trump acts as the good cop from the sidelines. And I think it's the most fucking bonkers foreign policy strategy ever done. Ever in the history of time. I'm just saying. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. That's what I'm hoping for. So, Trump has been at a G7 meeting. And again, he keeps playing good cop. It's insane.
Have you heard any signals or seen any messages from intermediaries that Iran wishes to de-escalate the conflict?
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
What have you heard? What
They're
have
getting annihilated, bro.
you heard from the Iranians?
They'd like to talk, but they should have done that before. I had 60 days, and they had 60 days, and on the 61st day, I said, we don't have a deal. They have to make a deal, and it's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war.
No, sir.
And they should talk, and they should talk immediately before
Pretty weird.
it's too late.
Pretty weird. Pretty weird. That 60-day ultimatum is going to be iconic. So this is him with Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of England, and he said something pretty similar. This is yesterday.
G7 leaders are calling for de-escalation in Israel and Iran, but you are the key to unlocking that.
That's right. And here I am.
And here you are.
Yeah.
So can I ask you, sir,
So,
have you spoken to Prime Minister Netanyahu? When might you speak to him?
I've
And what
spoken
do
to
you-
everybody.
What will you say?
Israel is doing very well,
yeah.
as you probably noticed.
Yeah, everyone
And
noticed. Everyone
I
noticed.
gave Iran 60 days, and they said no. And the 61st, you saw what happened.
Bro, no one is ever going to beef with Trump ever again. If Trump gives someone an ultimatum, what the fuck are they going to do next time? Like, think about it. This is not an empty threat anymore. Like, bro said 60 days, and day 61, they lost all of their nuclear scientists and 3/4 of their nuclear facilities and 9/10 of their ballistic missiles on day 61. Oh my God. Who is ever gonna beef with this guy? And he didn't lift a finger. Oh, Lord.
Day 61. So I'm in constant touch. And as I've been saying, I think a deal will be signed, or something will happen, but a deal will be signed. And I think Iran is foolish not to sign one.
Yeah, no shit. Iran is accusing Netanyahu of attacking them to deliberately derail your nuclear plan that you have. What do you say to that? Do you think that's true?
Dude, pay attention to what just happened. Iran is accusing Netanyahu of attacking Iran to derail the nuclear conversation, and Trump said no. That is not true. Despite that not being true, as confirmed by the President of the United States, this is the narrative that so many of these retards in the media keep trying to push. They negated the negotiations, Trump is a weak man, and Netanyahu said no, and Trump caved. None of this is true. Literally none of that is true.
And
look, Iran should have signed the deal.
If it would help bring Iran to the negotiating table, would you guarantee that the U.S. would not get involved militarily?
Well, I think Iran basically is at the negotiating table. They want to make a deal. And
No shit.
As soon as I leave here, we're going to be doing something. But I have to leave here. I have, this commitment. I have a lot of commitments. I have a commitment to a lot of countries, including the UK, where we just signed our deal.
Yeah, so this guy obviously looks awkward because they just released the fact that there were a bunch of Pakistani grooming gangs running around in England that he kind of contributed to covering up. So that's probably why he looks awkward, because that was just exposed yesterday. But hey, thank God I am in America, not in England. Anywho, Trump leaves the G7 summit, and Macron, the leader of France, decided to say that something wild. Publicity-seeking President Emmanuel Macron of France mistakenly said that I left the G7 summit in Canada to go back to DC to work on a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Wrong! He has no idea why I am now on my way to Washington, but it certainly has nothing to do with a ceasefire. Much bigger than that. Whether purposefully or not, Emmanuel always gets it wrong. Stay tuned. He's just like, he's actually on fire. It's actually fucking crazy. Dude just he goes insane, dude. Oh, Lord. Let's go French, am I right? So anyway, I wanted to show you what a lot of the grifters have been saying. So Candace Owens, get ready, white American men. Thank you, black woman, for telling the white American men what to be thinking. It's time for you to go and die for Israel again. This is funny because Americans have never gone to die for Israel. This is not a thing. However, it is pretty interesting that she thinks that this is happening, even though there is no indication of Americans just going to die for Israel. This is not happening, but hey, she wants it to happen so that she can prove that she's right and based. If you don't want to die for Israel, then you are an anti-Semite. Sign up and die in Iran for Netanyahu today, or admit you hate Jews, trust the science. This might be one of the worst tweets I've ever seen in my entire life. I don't even know what to say, bro. I don't even know what to say. How are you this level of retarded? Like, oh my God, it's crazy. Holy shit. Now, this is a new Candace Owens tweet, and this one's even worse. So this is a image from Iran where people in Iran were saying, Israel, please target Ali Khamenei. He is the supreme leader of Iran, where Iranian citizens are begging Israel to continue their attack. Okay? Because 80% of them are against the current Islamist extremist regime. All right, you have to realize 80% of them are against that. But Candace Owens may have made the worst tweet of all time. Are you ready to see how good this is? The level of propaganda coming out of Israel is beyond parody. They are reporting that an Iranian wrote this letter, begging them to bomb a news station. Curiously, the Iranian chose to write the letter in English, not Farsi, which Israelis don't speak, Arabic, which most Israelis don't speak, or Hebrew, which Iranians don't speak, but in English. Oh my God, the fact that people in Iran that have always hated the regime are actually saying something against the regime is obviously fake. It's obviously propaganda. This can't be happening. Now, ironically, this is cut off because if you look at the full image that she's taken here, as you can see, it says it has a hashtag in Farsi. All right, a Farsi hashtag is at the bottom of this. So, like, again, it's retarded. It is absolutely freaking crazy to think that that this is like some sort of Israeli propaganda. It's obviously not. Now, the reason why I wanted to show you this Candace Owens tweet is because this is Neo Berg. She is Iranian. Hey, Candace, Iranians are not uneducated savages. A large number of us speak English and will use it when we communicate with non-Iranians. Why are you talking about us like we are unintelligent sand people? This is the greatest fucking tweet of all time. This is the greatest tweet of all time. So, like, come on, bro. Imagine hating Israel so much that you want terrorist regime of Iran to get nuclear weapons to the point that you're going to be calling out people in Iran begging for the downfall of a terrorist, tyrannical dictatorship regime. Like, they want that downfall, and you're like, nah, you don't want that downfall. I'm a black woman in America, and I know what you really need. Thank you, Candace. Very cool. Now, this is Dave Smith. He is a comedian turned political commentator, podcaster, and I wanted to show you some interesting takes he's had about Trump for a very long time.
I would be very happy for to see Donald Trump impeached.
All right, so that's 2019. Impeach Trump.
For the illegal, immoral, borderline war of genocide that he's been helping the Saudis conduct in Yemen.
Wow.
Even grading on a curve. He is a war criminal who
all right, 2021.
Deserves to be tried and buried under the prison.
Bury Trump under the prison.
Just with, right alongside Barack Obama and George W. Bush and John McCain and all the rest of them. Let me just say that.
All right, next, 2021.
Real quick, Donald Trump should be in prison for war crimes for what he did to the people of Yemen. How's that for taking on the right? You're just defending your Democratic president. Good. I actually stand on principle. Lockdowns and keeping Fauci on the job and Yemen and Israel and Iran, and there's just like the government spending, and there's just a lot of them that it's like I just kind of can't forgive him for, but I think I might.
Cannot forgive Trump. All right, so far he wanted Trump to be impeached, murdered, buried under the jail. Cannot forgive him.
Vote for Trump.
But he's voting for Trump.
Yeah, Donald Trump.
All right.
Listen, man, I supported him this last year. I apologize for doing so. It was a bad calculation. At the time, it seemed like the right one. But he should be impeached and removed for this one.
Impeach him and remove him. So that's flip-flopper guy here. Again, he is pro-peace. So therefore, he is against literally every time Israel is an attacker. Every time, you know, because they attacked in retaliation to being attacked. It's kind of weird how that keeps happening. So it's kind of wild to see grifters like being this mask off. This is Tucker Carlson. I think this one's even wilder, honestly. So this is Tucker Carlson specifically on Iran. All right, Iran, a terrorist regime that wants nuclear weapons, that chants death to America, death to England, death to Israel. Okay, all right. This was his take in 2006.
I'm just struck by that in everything you see come from the government of Iran, there is anti-Semitism, which has got to be among the most off-putting things in the Western world. You know, I think what you say is you either stop your nuclear program or we will bring down an earthquake upon you using God's wrath.
Funny story, there was an earthquake in Tehran yesterday, a 2.5 earthquake in Tehran. Like, on top of Israel bombing them, there was also, you know, God-ordained natural disaster. I just thought that was funny.
I do think, I'm sure I'm the lone voice in saying this, I think Iran deserves to be annihilated. I think they're lunatics. I think they're evil.
All right, so 2012, he didn't just want to go after their nuclear sites. He wanted Iran annihilated, okay? Or annihilated in 2012.
Netanyahu says, no, we need to bomb the hell out of them. We need to defeat them like we defeated Saddam and Assad and Gaddafi. We need to take out this evil regime. That's his line.
So it's not about nukes, what you're saying. You're saying it's not about nukes, it's about regime change.
I think for sure.
Ex-Fox News host blasts complicit president for backing Israel after attacks in Iran. He says the real divide isn't between people who support Israel and people who support Iran or the Palestinians. The real divide is between those who casually encourage violence and those who seek to prevent it, between warmongers and peacemakers. who are the warmongers. They would include anyone who is calling Donald Trump today to demand airstrikes and other direct U.S. military involvement in the war with Iran.
What happened to this guy? What happened to these people? Everyone recognized that Iran was some sort of like wildly terrorist regime. Okay? Everyone was there. Everyone was literally on that page. And suddenly they're just shifting to be anti-Trump. So Trump annihilated the fuck out of him. He actually carpet bombed that motherfucker. It's the craziest thing in the world. Look at this. Somebody please explain to Kooky Tucker Carlson that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Motherfucker, this has nothing to do. This has nothing to do with being pro-war or pro-peace or pro-anything or not. They can't have nukes. It is an existential threat to the world if a terrorist dictatorship that believes that any infidel should be eliminated, they should not have nukes, because obviously not, because it's the most obvious fucking thing in the entire universe. It's literally the most obvious thing ever that they shouldn't have nukes. And what do you do when they refuse to not have nukes? Like, what do you do? Literally, what do you do? Well, Chamberlain also wanted peace desperately, and his inaction brought the worst war in human history. Thank you, Chamberlain, for not stopping baby Hitler before that shit happened. Again, you have to realize, preemptively stopping a terrorist from getting nuclear weapons doesn't make you pro-war. It makes you pro-being a normal, rational human being. That's just my opinion. So Tucker Carlson kept going. He says if the U.S. gets involved in Iran, it could end the American empire. All right, remember this, because he's going to be proven wrong. All right, so remember this. He will be proven wrong, and all these people like saying that they're able to predict the future all the time, but they don't. They don't. Everyone kept predicting again and again and again, tens of thousands of American troops dying in Iran for Israel. Dog, it's not happening. Former Fox News host Tucker Carlson calls the network propaganda used to manipulate elderly people. You say that the program that you were the main anchor on for years is all propaganda, and you are the only person that actually has the correct analysis on all these things. Now, here's the thing. I don't hate Tucker Carlson. I don't know what happened to Tucker Carlson, but I don't hate this guy. I don't know how he's fallen off so far. It's wild. So, Piers Morgan, he's not pro-Israel in any way, but he spoke to this guy. This guy is an Iranian news guy, and they had quite the interesting conversation on air.
If you're going to call me a liar and a coward, I'm going to jump in and take you on.
So
show some respect or don't bother.
You are a coward. You are a coward. You did not come to Iran when I invited you. So you have...
You're a coward for not coming to Iran. A place that decapitates women if their hair is uncovered in the street.
No right to...
I wouldn't trust going to Iran. Why on earth would I trust going to Iran?
As your guest, your guest said nonsense about...
As your guest in Iran, with your contacts with the Iranian regime,
so don't...
I wouldn't trust that as far as I can throw it.
So don't comment about Iran if you don't come here.
Well, let me give you some facts about your...
Don't talk about Iran if you're not there. Only if you're in Iran. Get ready for him. He had like a little fucking pamphlet of shit that goes on in Iran.
Country. Let me give you some facts and see where I'm wrong here. Women face severe restrictions when it comes to marriage, divorce, inheritance, child custody, and so on. Compulsory veiling, punishable by flogging and prison sentences.
Did you hear? If a woman is not veiled in public in Iran, they could get flogged, that's beaten with a stick in public, and then thrown into prison. All right, listen, there's a reason why 80% of the people in Iran do not like the current dictatorship.
Women punished for bad dressing, defined as exposing any body parts below the neck. Women banned from certain professions. They can't be judges. They can't be They can't be in certain positions in government. A ban on independent political parties, civil society organizations, trade unions. LGBT people suffer systematic discrimination and violence. closing shops that have so-called improperly veiled customers. Authorities censor media, jam certain television channels, continue to block or filter mobile apps, social media platforms, executions, including those of children, torture, and other ill treatment.
He's listing off things like torture and execution of children, and he's just like, you coward, come here yourself!
Spread is systematic. State television can often air torture-tainted confessions, arresting and sentencing people who break fast during Ramadan. Anyone who speaks out protests against the regime can be subjected to the death penalty, flogging, prison terms, and other severe...
Speaking out against the regime is punishable by death! I don't understand why these fucking people support Iran. I don't understand.
The penalties. It doesn't sound like a great place for me to visit, with all due respect, Professor Morandi. So you can tell me that I'm a coward and I'm a liar, and I can tell you that you prop up, personally, you go on the airwaves and you disingenuously prop up and grotesquely defend a terrible regime, which is now getting, as many people see, its final comeuppance for constantly threatening Israel with getting a bomb and taking it out. And that's what this is about. You know it and I know it. And you also know that your regime has propped up the Houthis and Hezbollah and Hamas. It has been the octopus with its tentacles of terrorism spreading all over the Middle East. So you can call me what you like, but what you can't do...
Look at this fucking grin on his face.
...is deny what I've just said.
Yeah, holy shit. Listen, Piers Morgan might be a rage baiter, all right? He might be a rage baiter. He might grift every now and again to a specific political side, but he fucking killed that guy. I don't know what you want me to say. So, again, I don't remember certain people screaming about foreign wars when Trump unleashed thousands of American troops to decimate ISIS, launched 59 Tomahawk cruise missiles at Shayrat Air Base in Syria, announced plans to leave troops in Afghanistan indefinitely, mobilize troops to fight in Al-Shabaab in Somalia. But now suddenly, when Trump merely doesn't want to get in the way of Israel taking out Iranian nuke facilities, it's dragging us into foreign wars. I think certain people don't really care about foreign wars as much as they just hate Israel. Not gonna lie. I don't know who this Joel Berry guy is, but he was kind of spitting. No one gave a shit about this, you know, but for some reason, just sitting back and letting Israel bomb the fuck out of them that's too far. That's insane. Charlie Kirk went on Fox News, and he had some interesting things to say.
Some people on the right, you know, they're saying, don't forget about Iraq. How are you reconciling these issues?
Well, first, this is the moment that President Trump was elected for. Thank God that we have President Trump in the Oval Office with this high-stakes situation. Look, President Trump, 10 years ago, he went down the golden escalator. And when he announced for the presidency, 10 years ago to this day, he remade the Republican Party on foreign policy. He said no more permanent wars in the Middle East. He criticized the Bush-Cheney philosophy of endless quagmires. Albeit, though, he is not an isolationist. He is willing to use violent and precise force against our enemies, like taking out Soleimani or dropping the Moab, if and when necessary. President Trump understands his base extraordinarily well. He knows that his base does not want another Iraq. He does not want Libya, does not want a civil war or bedlam where the United States is left carrying the bag. But also President Trump has been morally clear for a decade. Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. And President Trump has the talent, the expertise to be able to thread that needle. The generation that I represent, Jesse, the under 30 crowd, they absolutely are very war weary. Many of them voted for President Trump on college campuses because they did not want to see a Joe Biden or George Bush philosophy where we get into this endless conflict where we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars. I think President Trump will be able to balance those two things while defending our allies, saying that Iran will not have a nuclear weapon without having to deploy a single American troop
that would be
or
crazy.
Even having America involved from the sky. President Trump can get that deal done while fulfilling the mandate that the voters gave him.
I think that's a really powerful statement that he made, honestly. I'm not even going to lie. I'm not even going to lie. I don't like the endless war machine. I don't want Americans to go die in wars. I don't. I think that's a fucking tragic situation that should not at all be done if it could be avoided literally in any way ever. But sitting back, letting Israel take out an existential threat to not only Israel, but also an existential threat to the world. To be honest, like if you think about it, this is a fucking radical fuck that's out there, you know, nuking shit, and they're planning on literally nuking other countries. Like, finally, holy moly! Now, this is just a crazy clip that I wanted to show you yesterday. This happened. This is live on Iranian news. What she is basically saying, I saw the translation, it's something along the lines of, our people die as martyrs! They die as martyrs!
متجاوز به خاک وطن صدای متجاوز به صدای حق و حقیقت است. آنچه که ملاحظه کردید، صدایی که شنیدید، فضای غبارآلوده استودیو.
And in middle of the broadcast, she was bombed. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, Lord. Yeah, anyway, she was fine. She did not die. She did not die. She went back on the air later. I just thought that was definitely kind of wild. All right, I got some retards in my chat. As always, you know, this always happens. He's spamming, so I'm going to ban him. But I'll just read him what he's saying. If you love Israel so much, why don't you go home, retard? America shouldn't get involved in other countries' affairs, retard. All right, so it's pretty cool. I do appreciate you. But again, I think a lot of people in America don't want Iran to have nuclear weapons. The president of America doesn't want Iran to have nuclear weapons. I think every reasonable person in the world doesn't want Iran to have nuclear weapons. Because why the fuck do you want Iran to have nuclear weapons? Israel's doing all your job for you. You don't even need to get involved. I love it. I'm not dying for America, I say while I'm not dying for Israel, I say while I sit on my fucking Cheeto-encrusted couch in my mom's basement playing video games. You're not dying for anybody, okay? You were fucking doing your shit. So Hasan, because the left, honestly, the reason why I talk about like right-wing people is because currently the right-wing people are in power, and the left is just like, they're so worried about how many genders they have in different bathrooms. But like, this is the craziest shit in the universe. It was never about nukes and always about turning Iran into a failed state that will be led by a US-Israel puppet. What the fuck are you talking about? Once the region is completely in service of interest, we can move towards China. Bro, what the fuck are you talking about? US intervention seems inevitable. All right, so according to Hasan, this is a giant United States plan for world domination. Because of course it is, and he supports terrorists whenever he possibly can. But, so this is an American arms, not American, I believe this is in France, right? Yeah, in an international arms exhibition in Paris, the booths of the Israeli companies were concealed behind black walls where they basically didn't let people go in France. So, of course, Hasan says, stop being anti-Semitic to Israeli arms manufacturers. Like, obviously, that's a joke. However, I thought that the response to, France blocking off Israeli arm manufacturers might have been the craziest. I wouldn't have even shown this to you because I don't give a shit. But what I am going to show you is very, very funny. This is an announcement from Israeli Industries in Israel to all our global customers and partners, because Israel develops a lot of weapons. They sell a lot of weapons to, to America, to Germany, to India. To all our global customers and partners, due to this discriminatory decision of the French government to block our participation in the Paris Air Show, we have decided to move our capability demonstration to Tehran. You are invited to watch them in action. This might be one of the craziest fafos I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm not even gonna lie. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. That's fucking bonkers. I don't know, man. That's insane. It's like, you don't want to see our exhibit in France? That's fine. On the world stage! I don't know. That's fucking crazy. Now, Red Pill Media. This is an account that's talking for the right-wingers. America first, right? You see in their bio, America first. All right. I am an American citizen, born and raised in America. I refuse to die for Israel. This is like a big sentiment, even though no one's asking these people to die for Israel. I don't know what's happening. But, yeah. So, anyway, to 86,000 likes. America first. Interestingly enough, this is an old post from Red Pill Media. I love Pakistan, and I would sacrifice my life for Pakistan. This is during the India-Pakistan conflict of literally a couple months ago. What is happening, bro? If you want to be anti-war, I'm fine. But, like, what is this? What has happened? How could you possibly have this perspective? How on earth could you have this perspective? It's actually retarded. But after doing a little more digging, it turns out Red Pill Media might not be the American citizen born and raised in America that refuses to die for Israel that we all think about. So, because if you look into it a little bit, the Twitter Red Pill Media is a man named Abdul Abbas who lives in Pakistan. So, interesting. Can't even say it with a straight face. So, interestingly enough, this account, I'm an American citizen, born and raised in America, I refuse to die for Israel, is actually a Pakistani guy LARPing as an American to fight against Zionism. All right, claiming to be an American first, even though he would die for Pakistan. You can't make this shit up. It's crazy. I knew Red Pill Media is a Muslim account. Why would he support America? Oh, obviously because he hates Israel. This is a subversive account that essentially exists in Pakistan to hate Israel, LARPing as an American. It is definitely hilarious, I do think. Now, if you don't like Israel, I think that all the power to you. You have all the right to not like whoever the fuck you want or don't want. I actually don't care. I literally don't give a shit, and I don't think anyone cares. However, like, this is fucking hilarious. Like, this is funny. This is very funny. Now, Iran is now officially a Zionist state.
سر چی داریم به خاک و سرزمین هم دیگه تجاوز میکنیم؟ اون سرزمین خودشو داشته باشه ما هم سرزمین خودمونو.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's not like I understood everything you just said. However, apparently they're begging for a ceasefire, and this is what this guy said. Why are we attacking each other's lands? Let them live in their land, and let us live in our land. You know, just a minute ago, in Iran, they were saying we have to wipe out all of Israel, they're all cancer, and now suddenly they're Zionists, thinking that everyone should have their own land. It's kind of weird. Now, this is what's actually happening in Iran, because even though Candace Owens claims that it's all propaganda, these are videos in Iran of civilians burning pictures of Khomeini, the supreme leader of Iran, because 80% of the people in Iran fucking hate the terrorist regime that has been running it and ruining their lives. So, again, there is mass hysteria on the streets, really excited to wipe out this terrorist regime. The people in Iran hate their leaders. So, again, let's make this straight. All right, I want to try to get things understood. The people in Iran hate their leaders. All right, 80% of them. All right, Iran is threatening the world. Okay. All right, so Iran is threatening the world with nuclear weapons. They threaten Israel's very existence. They threaten everybody else. Israel is fighting. America is currently not there. Okay, America is not involved by any means, except for providing defense budget, money for defense. How on earth are you gonna twist this into Trump bad, Trump failed us, America is everyone's dying for Israel? I don't know how you could possibly have this perspective. You have to be retarded. You have to be retarded. Now, this is another one of those accounts that are like, oh my god, it's crazy. This is the Haifa refinery. I can't believe, look at the Haifa refinery. It's on fire. Iran successfully destroyed the Haifa refinery. Oh, never mind. My bad. Community note. This video shows the Shahran oil depot in Tehran, Iran, which was hit by an Israeli airstrike. So this is Iranian oil deposit that was destroyed, and this guy is just like, oh my god, I cannot believe Israel is so cooked. I don't know, man. People are just living in dreamland. Of course, you have people saying Taku used to not be an Israeli citizen. Still not. He only moved to Israel after the Gaza genocide began. This is not true. Because he wanted to personally participate in it. What the fuck? And benefit from it by living in a stolen Palestinian home on Palestinian land. I don't even know where he's cooking with this. 23,000 likes, million views. Dude, at this point, because I am essentially just being honest with my takes, dude, if you look up Nux Israeli spy, bro, you get millions of people. Millions gonna put a hit on that VTuber Nux Taku. Sure. Nux Taku, Israeli crossdresser, Nux Taku killed. The narrative from Nux was killed in Israel got proven wrong. Oh, this is so sad. Nux being Israeli. Okay, I was killed by a guy with a trans flag in bio. Nux isn't Israeli. He's just a Jew. True. And it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. There are an unbelievable amount of people calling for my demise. It's actually kind of great. It means I'm doing the right thing. I'm not going to lie. It means shit is going completely well. So I wanted to look at this brand new interview. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu spoke to ABC News. And ABC basically does this entire thing where they try their best to hate on Trump. I love that they just hate you for being Jewish. Correct. I don't know. It's pretty weird that that's happening. The fanfics of me getting murdered are actually kind of entertaining. Now, I will continue to speak the truth. If you would like to debunk anything I say, I would appreciate if you actually do so in the comments. I am open to having my mind changed, but my opinion is, exactly like Donald Trump said, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
We have an ABC News exclusive. Earlier today, ABC News chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl sat down with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The Prime Minister is talking about the battle with Iran and the effects it's causing around the world. Here's Jonathan's interview in full.
Now to an ABC News exclusive. I'm joined by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who comes to us from an undisclosed location in Israel.
No shit.
Mr. Prime Minister, thank you for joining us. Let me...
Yeah, I have no filter. If you don't like my opinions, that's fine. You're not forced to watch, but I will say what I think every single time. No filter. I will say exactly what I think every time.
Start with the news that has just come in. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Iran has been urgently signaling that it wants to end hostilities and to resume talks over its nuclear program. According to the journal, they have been sending messages to Israel and the United States via Arab intermediaries. Have you received that message from the Iranians?
Well, not directly, but I'm not surprised. I mean, they want to continue to have these fake talks in which they lie, they cheat.
Oh, shit.
They string the U.S. along, and we have very solid intel on that. But of course, they want.
So important to note, Iran was trying to string America along, right? They had 60 days to denuclearize, and essentially, even though they said that they have 60 days to denuclearize, they kept talking and saying, we'll talk later. I kept kind of stringing Trump along, pulling him along endlessly, because essentially, at least from Israel's perspective, their plan was to string them along until they have nukes.
To keep on building their nuclear weapons and building their mass ballistic missile arsenal, which they're firing at our people. They want to continue to create the two existential threats against Israel while they're talking. That's not going to happen. We're not at the 11th hour. We're at the 12th hour, and we stopped. We acted to secure the life of the nation, and we're going to continue until we remove the two existential threats, the nuclear threat and the threat of 20,000 ballistic missiles that are equivalent to 2 nuclear bombs. So they want to stop and keep it, but we are committed to removing those threats.
So I think what I hear you saying quite clearly is there will be no end to the Israeli bombing of Iran until you have accomplished.
Yeah, that's not exactly what he said. I love when it's like, okay, so I hear what you're saying, and now I'm going to repeat it, except not exactly accurately. Very cool.
Your objective here. You're not going to stop for peace talks.
Well, look, we had the peace talks. We gave it a chance. We've, clenched our teeth. We did everything we could to enable President Trump to negotiate the desired result, and that would have been preferable for us and I think for everyone. But we saw in the course of the negotiations, while they were negotiating with the United States, the Supreme Leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei, tweeted almost every day, "Death to Israel."
I can't believe this is actually on the news. I mean, first of all, yes, if the leader of if another nation that has multiple terrorist organization proxies attacking you, all right, and also is constantly tweeting "death to Israel," "death to your country," while developing nuclear weapons, I totally get why you would not want them to have nuclear weapons. However, it's kind of fucking hilarious bringing this up. It's like, bro, did you see his tweets, bro?
The talks were merely a facade, and
I personally agree, by the way. Personally, I agree. I do think the talks were a facade. That's why they never even began to edge towards not having nuclear weapons. According to the UN, all right, 3 days ago, according to the UN, they broke their sanctions.
Absolutely. If it could be achieved with the negotiations, fine. But it wasn't being achieved, so we had to act to safeguard our existence. You would do the same.
But over the weekend, we heard from President Trump on Truth Social say Iran and Israel should make a deal and will make.
Watch how this fucking snake, I hate the media so much. Watch how this absolute fucking snake does everything he can to say Trump bad. Trump bad, Trump incompetent, bad Trump. This dude doesn't give a shit about what's going on in Iran. Every rational person wants Iran to not have nuclear weapons. Every single person that's rational doesn't want them to have nuclear weapons. Obviously. Oh my God.
make a deal. We will have peace soon between Israel and Iran. Many calls and meetings now taking place. So if President Trump asked you to stop the bombing campaign to resume these talks, would you do it?
I don't think Trump's not asking that. I want to make this clear. Trump's not asking that. He's putting him in an impossible situation. It's like saying, if Trump asks you to shove a dildo up your own ass and rotate, would you do it? Oh no, you would disobey Trump, right? That's the gotcha he's trying to do. Trump is absolutely not going to ask him to stop nuking so that talks can continue. That's not happening. That is absolutely not happening.
Well, President Trump has been a great leader of the world, and a great leader and a great friend of Israel. And he put forward the terms very clearly in the negotiations. He said, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And in order for it not to have a nuclear weapon, it cannot have the capacity to enrich uranium, which is the prerequisite for nuclear
Bro's not answering the question. Bro's not answering the question.
Weapons. Iran refused. Just refuses all the time.
He's right.
Cheats,
He's
and
true.
It continues to try to weaponize the enriched uranium they already have. They have 9 atom bombs worth of enriched uranium. They're working secretly, as we shared with the United States. They're working secretly to rapidly weaponize this. In a few months, they would have nuclear bombs. That's what they want to do. They want to continue stringing the U.S. along, build up those weapons. They don't want to seat at the table. They want to blow up the table. Well, specifically, they want to blow up Israel and purchase time. And I think the U.S. Shares the intel. I know they share the intel because we share intel with each other. If it's fake talks, obviously not. If Iran will relinquish the means to destroy our country, then obviously it's preferable to anything else. But that hasn't happened so far, and frankly, I doubt it's going to happen now.
He's not wrong. Look, they were in peace talks. Like, Trump tried so hard for months to get them to just say, we're not going to have a nuke. He tried so hard. He gave them 60 days. Oh, well, Fafo.
But he said Iran and Israel should make...
Did you know it's been 40 years since Iran's been 5 years from nukes? I love how everyone uses these talking points, because it's obvious to me that you get these talking points from some sort of pundit. Right? I guess I don't know who you watched that you actually listen to that says this, but I want to make something clear, okay? Very, very clear. All right. This is the UN. Okay, this is what the UN had to say. 6th of December. Okay, I'm trying to find the ones. Watchdog. No, not Watchdog nukes Iran. Oh, that's the wrong search. Watchdog. Nuclear Watchdog. All right, I found it. Here we go. Editor, cut that part out. Atomic Watchdog says Iran not complying with nuclear safeguards 4 days ago. All right, this is the UN. Euronews, UN nuclear watchdog finds Iran in breach of its obligations. Washington Post, Iran not complying with nuclear obligations. Al Jazeera, a Qatar terrorist propaganda website. UN nuclear watchdog board finds Iran not complying with obligations. This is 5 days ago. Okay, this just happened. This is brand new. Okay, so all the pundits that say that they tried to use this many times in the past, I don't give a shit what they used to try to do in the past. I'm telling you right now, the UN said that they are breaking safeguards, breaching obligations, and breaking sanctions and deals. They have 60%, and this is according to the UN, they have 60% enriched uranium when 4 years ago they had 3% enriched uranium.
Make a deal and will make a deal. How do you explain that disconnect? He seems very...
He keeps trying to do that thing, Trump bad. It's crazy.
Optimistic, in fact, seeming like he wants you to get back to the table and get back to the table now. You're saying there's no getting back to the table until the goals of the bombing campaign are achieved.
Well, if the goals could be achieved through negotiations, fine. I said that to the president.
They literally tried this. They tried this. It didn't work. Like, dude, everyone's like, why is Israel attacking the nuclear sites? Okay, so Trump says they can't have a nuclear weapon. So let's make a deal. They refuse to make a deal. Well, what are you supposed to do at that point? If they refuse to make a deal, then how do you stop them from getting nukes? Fucking ABC News activists.
I saw him in Washington. That didn't happen in the 2 months of negotiations that President Trump gave them. Right now, they thought that they could get away with it. They found that our very decisive and very precise military action against their nuclear program, against their ballistic missile program, is effective. So now they want to stop it and continue.
Yeah, obviously. Now they want a deal because they got fucking obliterated.
To continue to develop those two means of mass death that are meant to wipe Israel off the map. And this is a battle, that we have to assure is won. If it could be won diplomatically, fine.
Great.
Frankly, it didn't happen diplomatically, and we had to act because we're not going to put our neck on a nuclear, to a nuclear knife and let them destroy us. We're fighting this larger war against this oppressive regime that has oppressed the Iranian people for 46 years, that has spread mayhem, violence, and terror throughout the Middle East and well beyond. They tried to assassinate President Trump twice. They tried to kill me twice. They actually had their proxies shoot a drone right.
Yeah, I covered this in the previous video, the assassination attempts on Trump. I've covered that yesterday.
Into my bedroom window. They're targeting every one of our ministers, key ministers, for death. So they speak a good line, but they don't walk the walk. And again, we have to remove that threat. And I think it's a larger battle. It's a battle of civilization against barbarism. This regime is the cult of death. Don't mistake.
Hey, listen, just because they execute women in public if they don't have their hair covered, that doesn't mean they're a cult of death. I don't want to start any Islamophobia over here, all right, dude? All right. I just want to make this clear. Don't get all Islamophobic on my ass just because you got these fucking ayatollahs in Iran that are executing people for speaking out against the regime.
Make any mistakes about it. And sometimes, the forces of civilization have to act before it's too late. We did. And we're going to remove those threats against our existence one way or the other. The Jewish people haven't traveled over time this great
No, dude, stop, please. No, I'm begging you, please. Dude, Netanyahu not mentioning the Holocaust challenge, impossible. Please stop, dude. You don't have to do this.
Of 3,500 years with some of the worst tragedies meted out to any people during their existence. We're not going to have a second Holocaust. We'll do whatever is necessary to prevent that.
Why is he like
and President
this?
Trump has been a
God,
terrific friend
dude!
and a terrific leader. And I trust his judgment.
Listen. My grandparents are Holocaust survivors. Obviously, the Holocaust was, I think, one of the biggest atrocities in the history of the world. It was an obvious, horrible thing. You have to stop doing this, bro! Stop with the guilt tripping! No guilt tripping required! You can be like, yo, there are two parts to this issue, okay? Part one, they're threatening the existence of my country. All right, that's what he should say. They're threatening the existence of my country, so I have to stop that. And two, stopping them from getting nukes is a net positive for the entire world. That is the two-part situation here, and that is the only thing you need to focus on, bro.
And we have, together, we know what needs to be done in order to assure that those two twin threats to our very survival, to the survival and the peace of the world, are removed.
I agree. I agree with that final statement. Yes. One, there's the existential threat of these people having, 20,000 ballistic missiles, and they say they want to obliterate your country. That's realistic. I totally support that. That makes a lot of sense, especially because they support and prop up these terrorist organizations that have been attacking Israel for the last fucking 46 years. So again, that's one. And I think that's definitely good to know. Two, no one wants them to have nuclear weapons, bro. No one wants that. America doesn't want that. Europe doesn't want that. No one fucking wants that shit to happen. Okay? These two things are both completely true and accurate. You do not need to bring in the self-victimhood stuff. Stop!
So are you going to target the Supreme Leader?
Bro! I fucking hate ABC News. These people are demons. They're demons! Do you know why he's asking this? He's asking this because Trump said that they shouldn't target him yet. So he's trying to get him to say maybe, which goes against Trump because this guy's entire strategy is Trump bad. It's gross.
Look, we're doing what we need to do. I'm not going to get into the details.
First, and also, why the fuck is he going to tell you on ABC News his war plans?
But we've targeted their top nuclear scientists. It's basically Hitler's nuclear team. We got them. We still have work to do on other sites. We have targeted their ballistic missile manufacturing facilities. Understand this.
Dude, October 7th was the biggest tactical miscalculation in the history of warfare. I'm think about it. Like, obviously, it was a tragedy from the perspective of Israel, but it was the biggest miscalculation for this Iranian regime ever. Like, it's shocking to see how fucking badly they bungled their entire fucking vice grip on the Middle East.
See these bombs. You saw a single bomb. It's a one-ton bomb, John. dropping on Tel Aviv and other places, killing men, women, and children. They're deliberately targeting our population.
They are.
We're not doing that. We're targeting their
That is true.
military sites,
That
their
is
nuclear
true.
sites, their.
It doesn't answer the question, but it's true.
Ballistic missile sites, so they don't have 20,000 of these that no country could survive with. Yeah, they want to continue stringing us along, but there's a limit, because if we don't act now, there won't be a 13th hour. So we have to act. But what I'm saying is that we're not merely protecting ourselves. We're protecting everybody. We're protecting our Arab neighbors, with whom we want to expand the peace, as we did under President Trump.
And a lot of people don't know this, but right before October 7th, there was supposed to be this big peace deal between Saudi Arabia and Israel, which is one of the reasons, arguably, that Iran told Hamas to commit this atrocity and bring Israel into war.
Leadership in the Abraham Accords, that will be possible if Iran is defanged. We're also protecting the world.
Because Saudi Arabia said, if Iran does get nukes, because you have to realize, the number one killer of Muslims in history is other Muslims. So if Iran gets nukes, Saudi Arabia said that they will also be getting nukes, because they can't live and exist in the same neighborhood as a group that wants to kill them, because Iran wants to kill the Saudis. It's fucking crazy. What's going on, guys? I want peace too, bro, but I also don't want terrorists to have nukes.
They have ballistic missiles that can now reach deep into Europe and soon could reach the United States. And imagine what this regime that caused death to
and thank God Israel has an Iron Dome, right? Most of these countries in Europe do not have Iron Domes.
America, every time, that bombed your American embassies, that murdered 241 Marines in Beirut, that killed and injured thousands of American servicemen in Iraq and Afghanistan, that tried to blow up a restaurant in Washington, that burns the American flag. You want these people to have nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them to your cities? Today it's Tel Aviv, tomorrow it's New York.
Yeah, that definitely got taken out of context, because I saw that clip of people saying today's Tel Aviv, tomorrow's New York. Obviously, he's not threatening New York. He's just saying that Iran is a threat to other places. But dude, you have to stop using this rhetoric. Like, that was a dumb thing to say. I'm not even gonna lie. Today's Tel Aviv, tomorrow's New York. Dog, stop, bro, stop.
Understand America first. I don't understand America dead.
You have to stop using these terms, bro. Dude, stop. Oh my God. I mean, the point he's trying to make is Iran says death to America. If they get nukes, it would be very bad for America. That's the point he's trying to make. But dog, you can't use phrases like this. Like, you get this dude and he's just like, he's trying his best to convince America to obviously help militarily. That is obviously what he's trying to do. Okay? That's obviously what he wants. It's obviously what he wants. He wants America to help and contribute and join the war. Because every fucking country that gets into war wants America on their side, because America's fucking awesome. America's the strongest country in the world. Obviously, every country wants America on their side. So I don't blame him for wanting America on his side, but using language like this is never going to work. Oh, man. They hate all the West, not just Israel. Dude, stop. It's fear-mongering. It's fear-mongering. No one wants that. I get the sentiment he's making. This is a place that wants to kill America, that says they want to kill America, that is trying to get nukes to kill America. That is what Iran is doing. But using phrases like this is not gonna help. Anyway.
That's what these people want. They chant death to America.
True.
So we're doing something that is in the service of mankind, of humanity, and it's a battle of good against evil. America should and does stand with the good. That's what President Trump is doing, and I deeply appreciate his support.
But U.S. officials tell us that the president flatly rejected a plan, an opportunity that the Israelis had to take out the supreme leader.
Literally one-track mind. This guy's last question, are you going to kill the supreme leader? This new question, I heard Trump rejected you killing the supreme leader. It's everything Trump. Everything is Trump.
Do you understand his concern? My understanding is his concern is that this would escalate the conflict beyond where it is already.
No, it's not going to escalate the conflict. It's going to end the conflict. We've had half a century of conflict spread by this regime that terrorizes everyone in the Middle East, has bombed the Aramco oil fields in Saudi Arabia, is spreading terrorism and subversion and sabotage everywhere. That's the forever war is what Iran wants. And they're bringing us to the brink of nuclear war. In fact, what Israel is doing...
Well, Iran's been destabilizing the Middle East for the last 46 years. Without a shadow of a doubt. Like, they control the Houthis, right? The Houthis brought wild destabilization to Yemen. They control Hezbollah, which brought wild destabilization to Lebanon and to Syria. They control Hamas, which, well, we know what Hamas did.
Is
like all the deaths in Gaza are their blood. That blood is on Hamas's hands for sure. Like, they started this war, they could have ended this war.
Bringing an end to this aggression, and we can only do so by standing up to the forces of evil. Look, democracies have had to learn this lesson. You know, they faced a tyrannical regime, a radical, fanatic regime. For 40 years, I've been saying, actually 3 years after the establishment of this radical Islamist Ayatollah regime in Tehran, I said that the greatest danger, not only to the survival of my country, but to the peace of the world, is Iran's pursuit of nuclear weapons. And they are on the brink of achieving that. So imagine what they're doing now without nuclear weapons. Chanting death to America without nuclear weapons. Imagine what will happen if they had nuclear weapons and the ICBMs, the intercontinental ballistic missiles, to deliver it to every place on Earth. We're preventing the most horrific war imaginable, and we're bringing peace to the Middle East. And I believe that after our action, we're going to be able to bring the Middle East to new heights that nobody even imagined. You know, make the Middle East great again.
Dude, you have to stop pandering to Americans, bro. You have to stop. You have to stop pandering to Americans. Bro, stop. Your average American doesn't give a shit about the Middle East. Stop pandering, bro. It's painful. It's painful. Like, dude, stop. I appreciate glazing America, sure. I appreciate glazing Trump and stuff for helping. I'm with you all the way on that one. But, like, bro, stop with the pandering. You are not going to convince a single American of anything. Only Americans can convince Americans. And apparently, you know, Islamists can convince leftist Americans. But aside from that...
Make it truly great. Expand the peace.
Respectfully, what is bro supposed to say? You want to know my answer? My actual answer? You want to know my actual answer? My true and real actual answer of what he should be doing? He should be conducting his war in Israel. That I think he has very legitimate reasons to do and wipe out the nukes. And not do interviews on ABC. That's my opinion. He's doing it, obviously, because he's trying to get Americans on his side. But the more he speaks to Americans, the less Americans want to hear what he has to say.
With the Abraham Accords, expand them beyond our belief and imagination. Have trade routes, communication routes, energy routes.
He needs to humanize Israel, too. Other people could humanize Israel. The Prime Minister of Israel doesn't need to focus on humanizing Israel.
Have trade, tourism between Israel and our Arab neighbors, just as we've done under the Abraham Accords. All of that will be possible if we take away, defang Iran from its capacity to threaten everyone, not only us with our existence, but the regimes and our Arab neighbors and everyone else. This will bring the peace that we all hope for. And this will bring also the assurance of survival and a future for Israel and everyone else.
So it sounds to me like you're saying you disagreed with President Trump on this, saying that taking out the supreme leader would be a mistake. What else?
He's on the same path, bro. He is still doing the same line of questioning.
What else would you like from the United States? I mean, the United States...
Do you see how he asks his questions? What do you want from us? All right. And then Trump is going to say no, and then I'm going to make a rift. It's this. Every single question is the same point.
Could provide...
Well, John,
John, I wouldn't rush to conclusions. Yeah.
Well, he said that it would escalate the conflict. You said it wouldn't.
You said something. Trump said something else. You guys are arguing. You're not besties. You're not on the same page. Trump is weak. You're disobeying Trump. Trump isn't doing...
And now I'm asking you, what more would you like from President Trump, from the United States here? Do you expect that the U.S. Air Force will help you take out...
I hate when they ask these questions. Did you ask what he wants, or do you ask what he expects? Because these are two completely different questions. What does he want? He wants America to fucking mobilize literally everything and fucking go hog wild. And, you know, Israel doesn't need to do anything. America should do everything. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Obviously, in America, no one wants that to happen. But what does he want? He wants America to take care of all of his problems. He wants America to wipe his own ass. Obviously, because no shit, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want that? So what a stupid question. What do you expect? That's another question.
About that facility in Fordo?
We've gotten tremendous help from President Trump. American pilots are shooting down drones that are aimed at our cities, along with our pilots. We have 2 THAAD batteries in Israel that are helping bring down these murderous missiles. We have Aegis ships that are helping us, and it's deeply appreciated.
Bro said thank you. He said thank you. He beat Zelensky. All right, that's it. It's over. It's over. Sorry, Zelensky.
As far as what else America will do, that's up to President Trump. He will do what's in the best interest of the United States.
Fucking based.
But it's important to understand that we deeply appreciate his help and the help and the support of the great majority of the American people, because they understand what we're fighting against. We're fighting against a regime that hates us both, that is trying to assassinate us both, that is trying to bring death and destruction throughout the Middle East and to the world. And sometimes you have to take a stand. You take a stand with the good against evil, and that's precisely what America is doing under President Trump. It's also bringing freedom, possibility of freedom, to the people of Iran, the long-suffering, brilliant people of Iran. And you know, they're murdering their women. You remember that brave woman who was shot to death, left to bleed to death on the sidewalk in Iran because she uncovered her hair. She didn't cover her hair. Well, I have a woman pilot in my staff who worked on my staff, who's now flying over the skies of Tehran. We control the skies of Tehran.
That's pretty
crazy. And she's trying to do the things that will prevent this regime from continuing this horrible subjugation of the Iranian people and the rest of the neighborhood, the rest of the world. That's the difference. We're fighting for freedom, our own survival, our own freedom, but also for the freedom of everyone else.
Let me ask you,
I don't think he's wrong, per se.
Your defense minister, Israel Katz, said that...
Terrible statement made by Israel Katz.
If the Iranians continue to target Israeli civilians, that, quote, Tehran will burn. What does that mean?
Well, I think he made it clear, because it wasn't clear, and he clarified that what we're doing is targeting regime sites, nuclear sites, military sites, and ballistic missile sites that are embedded in Tehran. Our pilots are very precise. So unlike the Iranian criminal regime, we're telling the people, leave the zone of battle so that you're not hurt. And in fact, they are leaving, and that's important. And they're evacuating their homes, and that's because of the mad fanaticism, this anti-Semitic mad fanaticism of the Iranian supreme leader. He's like a modern Hitler. He just will not stop. But we're going to make sure that he doesn't have the means to carry out his threats.
Well, we'll see.
And let me ask you one more thing. You mentioned the support of the American people.
It's always about Trump. It's going to be Trump. I sense it. I feel it coming. It's going to be Trump.
There are some prominent supporters of President Trump who say that the United States should not be involved at all. Let me give you, for example, Tucker Carlson, of course.
Bro, stop. He's trying so hard to break Trump. This entire interview has Trump as the target. God, I hate the American media. I hate the media. I hate the fucking media. I hate the media. I am the media now. Sit down, ABC interviewer John Cucklesworth. I am the media. Now they love Tucker Carlson. They hated Tucker Carlson. They hated him. He was their arch nemesis for years. Now they love him because he's anti-Trump and there's one little opinion, nuanced difference. Now they love him. Now he's a friend of Tucker. Absolute fucking retard.
Of course, has been close to President Trump for quite some time, speaks to him frequently. He said the United States should not at any level participate in war with Iran. No funding, no American weapons, no troops on the ground. There is another option. Drop Israel, let them fight their own wars. What do you say to those supporters of President Trump, some of his supporters, who say the United States should not be involved in any way?
We're not just fighting our enemy, we're fighting your enemy. For God's sake, they chant, death to Israel, death to America. We're simply on their way. And this could reach America soon. I mean, to have these mad mullahs who are committed to destroying us in order to destroy you, to say that they should have nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles to deliver them to you, and to say that that's not your interest, well, we're fighting this war. We're taking the action. America is supporting us in defense, deeply, deeply appreciated. But this is a threat to the entire world. It's a threat to Israel, as I said, to our Arab neighbors, to Europe, to America.
Dude, he's actually giving him like he's actually taking the Tucker Carlson statement to heart and actually responding to the best of his ability. And this is Trump's response, bro. And this is what Trump had to say. Somebody please explain to Kooky Tucker Carlson that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Like, bro, he's like, I love how, Netanyahu sitting there. He's like, they chant death to America. They chant death to everybody. Obviously, this is a terrible thing, and it's a threat to the entire world, and we are fighting your enemies as well. And then Donald Trump is like, you absolute kook, complete buffoon. Why do you want them to have nukes? Utter retard. I just think that's pretty funny.
They chant death to America. It's though this is not your business. This is not myopia. This is utter blindness. I mean, sometimes you have to take a stand against evil. And that's what the American people instinctively understand, most of them, I have to say. And that's what President Trump understands.
Also, don't talk for the American people.
We cannot let that happen. We're certainly going to protect ourselves. But in so doing, John, we're protecting everyone else. And we appreciate, deeply appreciate, the help we're getting from the United States of America under President Trump's leadership.
And no peace talks at this point. No peace talks till the...
Oh, Lord. Every time this man opens his mouth, I want to kill myself.
Military objectives are met.
Well, we're going to see if Iran is serious about dismantling their nuclear program, dismantling their missile capacity, dismantling the terror axis that terrorizes everybody in the Middle East and well beyond. If they agree to all of that, obviously, the war could end.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, the thing is, this war wouldn't have started, right? That's the point. If they would have denuclearized, I don't think Israel would have ever attacked. They would have never actually had a fight like this. But because this started, denuclearizing is not enough at this point. Iran has enough shit going on that they have been doing and that they have been dealing with that from Israel's perspective, it's like, wait a second. You want me to just completely let up on the objective of stopping you from having ballistic missiles that you've been lobbing at our civilians? Like, I get that perspective. I really do.
If they lay down their arms, they lay down their weapons of mass death, that's different. But so far they haven't done it. And I think the important thing is to make sure that the result is achieved.
I mean, they're still firing daily. Like, you might not know this. They're still firing like 5 waves of ballistic missiles every single day. Less and less every day. The first day they shot like 300. The second day they shot 100. The third day they shot 30. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's definitely not looking good for you guys, but they're still trying.
It's not the means, it's the result. The result that has to be achieved is that Iran does not have the capacity to develop nuclear weapons to destroy the state of Israel, as they promised to do, while they're negotiating, to create a ballistic missile arsenal that is equivalent to several atomic bombs while they're negotiating. That's not going to happen. And of course, to continue the proxy war that was meant to basically snuff out the life of the Jewish state. We said never again.
No. I'm going to kill myself. Yes, to stop doing this. Bro, if you want to say we want to stop Iran because they want to kill us, based as fuck, all right? If you want to say that we don't want Iran to have nukes because it's a threat to the world, insanely fucking based. You cannot do this Holocaust thing every single time. You can't. You have to stop doing this. You have to stop doing it. You are not talking to the right people. Bro, it's happening. I sense it. I sense it, bro.
This is something we've said since the Holocaust. The Jewish people have suffered under the Iranian proxies the worst massacre since the Holocaust. Now they're planning a nuclear holocaust. We're not going to let them get away with it. If you can achieve it through different means, that's fine. But it's the result that has to count. The result has to be assured, and that's what I'm looking at. David Ben Gurion, the first prime minister of Israel, was tasked with an extraordinary decision to declare a Jewish state after 2,000 years, and he did. I'm tasked with the great mission of assuring the existence of the Jewish state. And we made that crucial decision in the nick of time. And of course, I think that we're successful because our brave pilots, our brave soldiers, our brave people, under this blitz, it's like the spirit of the blitz of the British during World War II. This is the spirit we have now in Israel. Yes, we're getting bombed, but the people are saying, keep it up, do what you have to do to remove the threat. One
He's right, by the way. Israelis are fucking based for this. Not gonna lie.
or another, that threat has to be removed.
Dude, if he goes through that's why we named this operation Rising Lion, and then he's gonna explain his attack move like an anime protagonist, I'm gonna be very excited.
President Trump said Iran cannot have nuclear weapons.
Yes! Correct! True!
It cannot have enrichment. He's absolutely right. That result has to be assured, and we're working together to assure it. America, by giving us the means of defense, we, by doing...
Dude, this needed to happen. I'm so surprised that there are so many people freaking out about this. It's like, imagine hating Israel so much that you're willing to give Iran nuclear weapons. Like, that's a level of retarded that I absolutely will never understand.
What we have to do to remove those twin threats to our existence. We're very, very resolute about it. The people are resolute, and I call this operation...
Rising Lion! I knew it was happening. He's getting there.
This historic operation, Rising Lion.
That's what I'm talking about.
Because it said in the Torah, in our Bible, the people shall rise like lions, and they've risen like lions. And I can't tell you how proud I am of our people, of our brave soldiers, and of our many friends around the world who know that what we're doing is right.
Actually, Rising Lion, like the name of the operation, like it's a double entendre because the Shah, the previous ruler in Iran, his logo was a lion, and they removed that lion logo when the current regime came into power. So Rising Lion is on the one hand you get like the Israelis are rising like lions, and on the other hand you have the Rising Lion that hopefully you're gonna bring back the Shah, the previous ruler, whose logo was a lion. Like, it's a cute name. I'm not gonna lie, cool, cute name, very symbolic, sure, but it's not exactly something I would say on ABC News.
And important to safeguard the future of civilization against these barbarians.
And we are out of time, but very quickly, how much longer do you expect this to go on? Are we talking days? Are we talking weeks? Are we talking a longer war?
John, I have my own assessments,
Bro,
but it'll go on.
How the fuck are you supposed to know that? If they're willing to say, dude. If Iran says, all right, we want peace, no more nukes, we're denuclearizing, we're demilitarizing, we're laying down our weapons, the war would end tomorrow. All right? But that's not going to happen.
As long as it's necessary to remove those twin evil threats, I think we're well on our way to success. I think what we've shown has amazed the world. Just the precision.
Yeah, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. That was fucking crazy.
The willingness to act.
The way they took out like the entire leadership, like with precise missiles, that was fucking incredible.
To save our country, but to act in a judicious and precise manner that is completely opposite to the indiscriminate bombing of civilians that Iran is doing.
He's right.
We're not doing that. We're doing the opposite. But I can tell you that we're very successful. We're confident, not overly confident, firm, confident in our ability to remove those threats. So one way or the other, those threats will be eliminated.
Mr. Prime Minister, thank you for your time.
Thank you, John. Thank you, America.
Ah, he said thank you. All right, no more Zelensky drama.
Thank you, President Trump.
He said thank you.
And John Karl joins me now for more on that interview. John, the Prime Minister really seemed to want to get the point across that he sees this as a war not just for the good of Israel, but for the good of the world. So first, just your quick take. What sticks out to you from the conversation you just had with Prime Minister Netanyahu?
Well, several things, including that.
If this becomes like an anti-Trump thing, I'm going to lose my shit.
And look, it's not just making that point for an American audience. It's making that point for an American audience that supports Donald Trump and doesn't support the idea of America getting involved in Israel. This is what I mean by that. There is a significant portion of Donald Trump's movement, of the MAGA movement.
I mean, I think that's
that is
everyone.
adamantly opposed to the U.S. getting involved in another conflict in the Middle East. Remember, one of the central promises that Donald Trump made was no more forever wars. And
this isn't going to be a forever war. Dog, this shit's getting wrapped up in a week. I'm just saying. It's not. This is not a forever war.
There are some prominent figures, prominent supporters of Donald Trump, including people
Tucker Carlson,
like Tucker Carlson, like Charlie Kirk, like Steve Bannon, who have been very loud and very vocal in saying, Israel, this is their fight, it's not our fight. So he's using their language when he says, I understand America first, but I don't understand America dead. And that's what Iran wants. They say death to America. So when he is saying that, he is speaking
not wrong
to Donald Trump.
I think it's bad phrasing, but he's not wrong.
In a way, saying don't listen to those supporters on your side who are against.
That is not what he said at all. You are miscategorizing this in an unbelievably disingenuous way. Like, dog, dude, I do not like the way Netanyahu speaks to Americans, okay? Personally, I don't like the way he does that. But, dude, you are misrepresenting this completely. He is not saying to Trump not to listen to half of his supporters and to put boots on the ground and go to war. That's not what he's trying to do here. He's just trying, in my opinion, what he's essentially trying to do, and not do a very good job at this, in my opinion, but he is trying to essentially say that these are not good guys. You should not be pro-Iran. They want you dead. Which is all true.
Involvement with Israel on this. Listen to us. You've been you've been Israel's best friend. Continue to support us because ultimately this is not just a threat to Israel, it's a threat to the United States.
You also asked him a few different times about the level of U.S. support and involvement.
Yeah, because he's trying to drive a wedge between the American people to say Trump bad, because that's literally his entire fucking personality at this point.
He touted U.S. support several times, even added one more thank you in there at the end, but he didn't seem to want to get too specific on that.
Right.
What the fuck is he supposed to say? Does he say, I need 6 missiles, 12 drones, 1 aircraft carrier? What do you want him to? You want to give you a laundry list of all the things he wants? Extra toilet paper. Please import lemons. Lemons are expensive this time of year. Like, what do you want him to say, bro?
Because the ground truth here, and there's been some great reporting.
See, Zelensky would have said we need another $300 billion.
Rachel Scott has done some great reporting on this. Others as well. That Israel wants more than they're getting out of the United States. Israel would like to see the United States involved in this air campaign for a very specific reason. That is, one of the primary nuclear and uranium enrichment sites in Iran is called Fordo, and it's buried almost a half a mile below the earth.
Sure, they want a bunker buster. They want a big fucking bomb.
It's impossible to destroy unless you have very large bombs that can penetrate that far below. The kind of bombs that can be delivered by a U.S. Air Force B-2 bomber and what they call the Moab bomb, the mother of all bombs, a very large bunker buster.
A big, beautiful bomb. That's what I call it. A big, beautiful bomb.
Bomb that is believed could penetrate deep enough to destroy that Fordo facility. The Israelis clearly want the American help, would like to see the Americans help them at least eliminate that one very important nuclear facility. And so far, as we have reported, the United States has not offered that assistance.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if that's what Netanyahu actually did want. I don't think he's necessarily wrong there. I think he definitely might absolutely want America to just drop one big, beautiful bomb in that one area and leave the rest to them. I would not be surprised if that's actually what he wants.
But publicly, he knows that he needs the United States, and the best way to keep the United States at least supportive of Iran in terms of fending off the Iranian supporting of Israel by fending off those Iranian counterattacks, you need to keep Donald Trump on board. So he's praising Donald Trump every few minutes in that interview.
Well, I think he's praising Donald Trump every few minutes in that interview because he absolutely should. Donald Trump was a fucking mad lad with this entire Iranian situation, as well as supporting them and providing to fucking missile defenses. Yeah, you should be praising Donald Trump.
Although if you read between the lines, he clearly would like a little more out of Donald Trump.
You don't need to read between the lines. He literally, what is going on? Why is this dude doing this? It's like Trump bad, Netanyahu, everyone bad. Yeah, vote for Kamala Harris, baby.
In the United States than he's getting.
Minister Netanyahu also says they would have preferred to negotiate with Iran, but that the peace talks were a facade. Is there any indication they'll resume talks anytime soon?
I think zero indication of that. I asked just before the interview started, we did the interview just a short while ago, just before the interview started, the Wall Street Journal alerted breaking news that according to the Journal, Iran has sent word to Israel and the United States through Arab intermediaries that they want to cease hostilities and to resume talks over its nuclear program. So that story just broke. And it was the way I started the interview was asking Prime Minister Netanyahu, so what about that? Are you open to stopping your air campaign against Iran so you can resume these nuclear talks? And he was quite clear that he had zero interest in that he believes that the nuclear talks are simply a way to delay and to allow them to move forward with developing nuclear weapons. So look, Donald Trump, this is another place where you have clear, very different messages between the Israelis and between the United States.
What are the different messages? Dude, I don't even know, man. I don't even know. Bro, I don't even know.
Donald Trump is saying that he believes that peace can happen very soon. He believes you could have a nuclear deal with Iran now, probably even better opportunity than before. And Netanyahu clearly thinks that that is not going to happen and is
Bro, dude. Iran getting nukes would be bad for the world. There is no way forward with Iran getting nukes. That's it. There is no way forward. If they want to do it through peace, they can go to Trump. If they want to do it through war, then they can go to Netanyahu. I really feel like they have literally been so basically like on the same page when it comes to this of all time. It's like actual good cop, bad cop.
willing to stop the war. I asked him another question, Diane. I asked him, if Donald Trump asked you to stop this air campaign, to allow nuclear talks to resume, would you go along with that? He didn't answer. But if you read between the lines,
that's a no.
I don't think that he is going to stop this military campaign until he is convinced that the nuclear program is destroyed, and by the way, the missile program as well.
All right, Chief Washington.
I mean, makes sense to me, honestly. I don't see the problem with that. I'm not gonna lie, I don't see the problem with that. However, really interesting fucking situation over here. Trump apparently just an hour ago said this.
What specifically is better than a ceasefire? What are you looking for here?
An end, a real end, not a ceasefire. An end.
So something that would be permanent.
Yeah, or giving up entirely. That's okay too.
Are you close there? Are you?
Damn, I want an end.
Possible? Is that possible in the next 24?
Why not? Certainly possible. Complete give up. That's possible. Yeah.
What specifically is better?
Bro, Iran is talking such a big game. Wait, someone just told me that Iran just announced that Americans should start evacuating America. Bro, stop. Iran's not attacking America, okay? This is not... Dude, Iran is losing to a country that is smaller than New Jersey. Bro, they are not attacking America. Okay, stop, please. Holy shit, what are we talking about? Oh my god. Apparently, Israeli Secret Service used fake phone calls to lure Iran's Air Force elite to their deaths. Bro, dude, these guys are... they got so fucking destroyed. It's unbelievable. Oh my god. Anyway, I'll see you the next time. I don't know if we're going to be doing more Iran content unless more shit happens. I just felt the need to talk about this in greater detail because I see so many warmongers and fearmongers and bullshit losers crying and screaming and being pro-Iran. If you're pro-Iran and you're in America, you're retarded. Stay weird, fam. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.